Everybody in the Giants community has their own opinion on who they think the Giants should draft with the 6th overall pick. I am here to tell you which position they should stay away from with the 6th overall pick. Let's go. To draft or not to draft? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back in to another video. And listen, before I make my video on my big board for the New York Giants, which I am working on, I did come to this conclusion a couple of hours ago and maybe even a day ago while I was looking at some prospects on who the Giants could potentially take with the 6th overall pick. Now, it's no secret if you guys have been paying attention to the channel, you guys know that I want a quarterback in this draft, and it's really been coming down to the 3, and it used to be 2, but now it's 3 quarterbacks, that being Caleb Williams, Drake May, and now I'm bringing in Jayden Daniels. Now, I still need some more convincing for J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix to take at 6. I still need a little bit more convincing. I still have to do more work on them. However, the 3 quarterbacks I mentioned are the 3 that I want, whoever is available. Now, obviously, I don't think Drake May or Caleb Williams are going to be there, so I would have to hope that we have to trade up for one of those 2 quarterbacks. There may be a chance Jayden Daniels may even fall to 6, and there's also a good chance that he won't be there. So even though I want a quarterback, I still have to go through the prospects the Giants can take with the 6th overall pick if those guys are not available, or even if the Giants decide to move in another direction. Can you guess the most obvious position that I went to when I looked at other positions in this draft to target? You're absolutely right. Offensive tackle. And although I did my work on Marvin Harrison Jr. and even Malik Neighbors, which I am very, very thrilled about. I would love Malik Neighbors, but we'll get into that later. I had to go over the offensive tackles because obviously that is a huge weak point of the New York Giants roster right now. It seems like the Giants drafted a bust in Evan Neal, and, you know, let's see if we can try to rebound with another offensive lineman pick and see if we strike gold with that one. So I did my research and my due diligence on the top 2 offensive tackle prospects in Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu. Now, if you haven't guessed by now, I really think the offensive tackle should be avoided with the 6th overall pick in this draft, and we're going to get into it soon. Don't worry. Hold your comments. Hold your dislike button. Hold all your angry thoughts about me. Hold the subscribe button. Just stick with me here. Stick with me. Now, first off, if you guys have not watched Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu, like, did your film study, did your due diligence, I don't want to hear anything in the comments, okay? Anybody can say that these guys are great players and you're going to listen to them. I need you to do your own film studies because there are a lot of first-round prospects in any position that wound up being a bust. I suggest everybody do their own film study. It's the offensive line, so you can find that kind of stuff on YouTube and see for yourself on if you like these 2 prospects. Now, I also want to preface this by saying I don't dislike Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu. I really don't. Do I think they're first-round worthy? I think so. Maybe not as high as 6th overall. I think there is a lot of work for these prospects to kind of go under, and not every prospect is going to be just perfect. Not every prospect is going to be the final finished product coming out of college. I don't think that at all, and I don't hold that standard to prospects no matter if I'm watching one that has a 1st round grade or a 7th round grade. All I'm saying is that Olu Fashanu and Joe Alt are just not blue chip prospects at this point. I've definitely seen in my course of, you know, watching prospects, especially the offensive tackles over the course of years, and I think we're coming up on nearly a decade of me doing this on YouTube, and whether it be for fun and now I take it more serious. With that said, I've definitely seen better offensive line prospects in previous drafts, and one even being Evan Neal himself. The best tackles I've ever seen in my time of watching college football and watching film and stuff like that, the best tackle prospects that I've seen are Andrew Thomas, who I really wanted in that draft, and we got him. Andrew Thomas, Rashawn Slater, and Laramie Tunsil. No particular order, but those 3 guys I remember being in love with, completely infatuated with in every single one of those respective drafts. And I know there are a lot of hog molly guys out there where it's like offensive line, offensive line, offensive line, and that's good and all, but none of that matters, and it doesn't even fix the offensive line if you go out in the 1st round and draft a bad offensive lineman. Just because you go into a draft in the first round and you draft an offensive lineman doesn't mean he's going to fix the offensive line. The same way a lot of people talk to us and say just because we draft a quarterback doesn't mean it's going to fix anything. But however, I'd rather take my chances on one of these quarterbacks than an offensive lineman. The impact just doesn't weigh the same. If the quarterback works out, he carries the offense and he is a franchise player. This offense, one of these guys works out, I mean, he's a good offensive lineman. Now, why don't I like these prospects as much as an Andrew Thomas or how I liked Evan Neal even a couple of years ago? Well, it's as simple as this. They just don't jump off the screen as completely dominant. I just see a lot of things that need to be worked on that is just not going to affect the team immediately. Even though drafting a tackle would probably make things a little bit easier for the offense, I don't think it's going to be a big fix, a huge impact on the team, and just settling for an offensive tackle because we're drafting for need and there's one there. I really don't think an offensive tackle, any of these guys, are best player available. Now, if you guys are one of the guys that say, I want best player available, I want it, I don't think any of those two that are there at 6 are best player available. I definitely think at least Rome Odunze will be there, the wide receiver out of Washington, and maybe even Malik Neighbors. I don't know that for sure, but however, I do think a receiver there might be a better of an option for the Giants at the 6th pick. So let's go over these two prospects and what I kind of don't see in them, what I'm hesitant about. We'll start off with Joe Alt. Now, the tackle out of Notre Dame, he is astoundingly large. This guy is an absolute giant. He is standing at 6'8", 322 pounds. Now, he is very athletic for his size. Now, I will give that to him. His side-to-side quickness, his reaction to the rush and handling the inside rush is actually pretty good. I don't mind that at all. He is very sloppy with his hands, however. Pretty sloppy. He kind of throws himself everywhere and doesn't seem to have very good balance. That's something I noticed about both these prospects. I've noticed a lot of times that they are the only ones on the floor out of the entire offensive line. Also, both these prospects have a problem with kick sliding. I don't know if that's something that's just not taught anymore, but it's something that in the NFL you see the most average offensive linemen learn to master, because it's one of the key things when protecting the quarterback and staying within a structure, keeping the pocket strong. Like Olu Fashanu, for example, he does not extend his arms whatsoever. I know this is a coaching thing. This is something that can be cleaned up in coaching, but it's something I really want to see at the college level where, Olu Fashanu, for example, will not overextend his arm. He would not extend his arms at all. He mostly uses some sort of catch technique, and all the rushes that he's going up against winds up turning into a bull rush. Now, with that being said, he's learned to really anchor himself really well and handles the bull rush extremely well because he has a good anchor, and that is just because he catches his rushers and kind of doesn't let them go anywhere from there. But I can really see how somebody with a lot of speed, a lot of power, can get right around Olu Fashanu because his lack of kick sliding and his lack of throwing punches and extending his arms and keeping himself away from the rusher, because the closer you are, these guys are they're not stronger, but they are a lot faster, and using speed with power will always overmatch just power. And we all know how these raw tackle prospects end up going into drafts. We've seen Mekhi Becton, who needed a lot to work on, and a lot of people drafted it high because of potential, and you see how that worked out not very well. Injuries didn't help him at all, but even so, he just didn't develop the way the Jets front office thought he would develop. And another one being Ike Ekwonu. Now, he's better than Evan Neal, I mean, I'll tell you that much, but he's another guy that was just getting, a hold of the position, still learning a lot, and a lot of people drafted him over potential because of how good he was at college, not knowing too much technique. And I mean, I guess he's working out for the most part, especially with the offensive line prospects like tackles. I really look for technique out of anything, man. I mean, if you can develop good technique, it really doesn't matter how strong you are, how athletic you are, how slim you are, how fast you can get to the outside on screens and pancakes and stuff like that. Like, I just want to see you have good technique, man. Just a wide base, a good kick slide, great punches, extending your arms, good balance, good pad level, all of that stuff is what makes a offensive lineman have good technique and makes them great in the NFL. Having good technique is just honestly half the battle going into the NFL. And like I said, these guys can very well learn all of that stuff. These guys can very well be good offensive linemen coming out, but especially for the offensive tackle position, the Giants are in no position to develop another offensive tackle. We've already drafted an Evan Neal, who we thought was going to be a blue chip prospect, and we are behind because we're waiting for him to catch up. We don't have time for that anymore. The offensive line can get somebody fired. Do you understand that? This offensive line can get Brian Daboll fired. Okay, we draft another offensive tackle prospect, and that's like goodbye Joe Shane, goodbye Brian Daboll. The offensive line, how bad it is and how long it's been that bad, can very well get people fired. This is not something you want to mess around with. Like I said, I really think the Giants should go after a receiver if they don't go quarterback. Like I said, number one priority for me is quarterback. I'll still have to be convinced that a Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix can be taken out of 6, but I'm damn sure the top 3 guys, Jaden Daniels definitely fits the bill for me after watching him. I really like how fast he picked up the quarterback position and how fast he's progressed over the course of like 2 seasons. Love it, love what he's doing. So I would definitely take him at the 6th pick. I think Brian Daboll can do a lot with him, and very mobile as well. I don't think we will be losing the mobile factor that Daniel Jones gave us. I think Jaden Daniels can be just that, maybe even better of a running quarterback than Daniel Jones is. And if the Giants don't go quarterback, I really think we should go receiver. Malik Neighbors being my number one priority. Listen, Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to be there. Okay, I'm just crossing him off the list because he's not going to be there, and I love that guy. But Malik Neighbors is damn close. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not on his own level. Like, that's how good this wide receiver class is. Those top 3 wide receivers, I mean, I don't think anybody would say Roma Dunze is the best one, but I can see if somebody says Malik Neighbors is the best receiver in this draft. I can definitely see that. But I just don't think, especially with the hype, his name, I don't think Marvin Harrison will be there. But I will take any of those 3 wide receivers at 6 as well. But I will stay away from tackle. If we have to trade down and take one of those tackles, I would not mind it, and then I'll live to see another pick. But however, that is the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know I probably received a lot of dislikes, and you know, it's fair. Just make sure you get a good argument. I love debating. Make sure you leave a good argument in the comment section below. I am Kid Blue. If you guys like the video, like the video, and make sure you guys subscribe and join that membership if you guys really want to support the channel. And that being said, I'm Kid Blue. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!